All right, what's up, everybody? I'm George Taylor. I have a new product out, a beautiful ebook called The Nature of Light, Art of Thought. It is on my website at sevenhillsgrow.biz. I thought I'd walk you guys through it very quickly. I just got 10 minutes. Let's go. All right, this is a little bit about me, but the mental and worldly structure we live in are built from smaller fundamental structures and laws. Much of the confusion we see is the natural result of one or many not understanding the basics, the true fundamentals. This is the true fundamentals. This misunderstanding keeps us from walking in the light because we do not yet understand the nature of light itself. All right, so I break down this ebook into ideation processes. So I'm trying to get you to ideate step by step. Y'all, you're gonna learn some words too, so look up ideate. So here we have the art of thought, a thought, reclaiming the nature of creative intelligence, to be creative out of it. So my point here is embracing nature as our guide does not erase identity, it refines it. When we align our souls with the natural principles, we become what humanity was always meant to be, basic and advanced all at once. Okay, then I get into one of the most important laws to understand about life, the law of correspondence, how our outer world reflects our inner world. I'll digress right there. Then I take you to the healing of perception, knowing instead of assuming. So my point here is in this section is I'm trying to get you to get above illusion, okay? So we can start to see things for what they are in nature and what they are in the creative process of the divine nature and essence of spirit, and how love is a cosmic phenomenon and its joys and the joy of giving and needs no return. I'm basically laying down the foundation for all the other thoughts that are going to come later on in my school and in the book. Okay, so this is basically my one-on-one, a law of giving and receiving. For whatever a man sow, of that shall he also reap. Giving and receiving are not opposites. They are reflections of the same law. Women mirror the receiving principle of creation, the sacred vessel through which life manifests. We'll stop right there. Here I start walking you through that critical thinking process. Thinking is art. Critical thinking, it's discipline. Is the process of discovery used accurately? Okay, thinking is art. Critical thinking, it's discipline. Is the process of discovery used accurately? Desire initiates that process. It is neither good nor bad by nature, but produces outcomes according to order or disorder. So you basically get back, if it's a good, great, best thought, if it's good, it's good. If it's great, it's great. If it's best, it's best. You know, it takes the shape and form of how you put it. I always break this down over and over and over in my writings, because you cannot understand pretty much anything in life if you don't understand that you have a subconscious mind, how it works, a conscious mind, a superconscious mind. And you got to put your big boy panties on. When I get to this part, the triple gaze of the grandfather mind, I literally break down the synchronization between eternal and present and temporal knowledge in the tri-faceted way to look at information, from the literal to the allegorical to the anagogical, from the observer to the observed to the actor, and how to act. So what must I do? What does this represent? And how does this align with the overall oneness of nature? This is a very important section. Furthermore, I talk about this grandfather technique of reading in 360 degrees. You look north, historical, personal, potential, and legacy. If you don't have these frameworks when you read things, as you read, or when people speak to you and teach you things, if you don't have these framings, a lot of minutia and myth and superstition can get by you. And I'm trying to help you out by giving your mind the proper vetting process of information so that you can go on and acquiesce more and more and more and more of life, of nature, which is you. Life is you, nature is you, okay? All right, coming up, someone always raised their hands, usually even atheists. When you get to talking about God, when I was younger, someone kind of asks about, well, if this bad thing happened to my mom, why doesn't God step in? The real question that you want to know is, George, tell me about good's triumph over evil, or what is the nature of evil and the nature of good. I didn't go into the nature of evil and the nature of good. I just went to the good's triumph over evil. If you guys want an ebook or for me to write on that, I will. Okay, life itself is good, for it constantly rebalances towards order. Life itself is good because it constantly rebalances itself towards order. This is nature. This has nothing to do with, this is above the realm of opinion. Our very bodies mirror this through homeostasis, this constant striving for equilibrium. The law of love governs this process, for love and the law are one. Then we head into the ideation process of the nature of light. I love this part. I think it's brilliant. All right, I literally walk you through the fundamentals of the nature of light. I describe a law of physics, a statement of fact derived from observation, expressing that a particular natural or scientific phenomenon constantly occurs when certain conditions are present. I walk you through principle, a law, how these words are interchangeable. Then I define nature in a scientific context. And then I define the dual nature of light as a wave particle in its duality. And then I get into the speed of light in the visible spectrum. Check this out. Now, to get right into light, I actually take you right to Psalms 1. So I say the nature of light is the power and the essence of law. The nature of light is the power and essence of law. I will explain this empirically through fact and reason, step by step. When reading scripture, try replacing the word Lord with law, treating the two as interchangeable in sequence, meaning consider, for instance, Psalms 1. Blessed is the man that walk not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of the sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful, but it is delight is in the law of the Lord. And on his law he doth meditate day and night. And he shall be, on his law he does meditate day and night. On his law he does meditate day and night. So on the Lord he does meditate. On the law. What is the law? The nature of light. How is the nature of light? Because a law or laws of nature can be understood as sequences, patterns, rhythms, or methods. These same expressions exist as thoughts, for the mind mirrors nature in its power and creative genius. This reflective understanding is what we call metaphysical wisdom. Truth, after all, is always manifested and multidimensional. This is what we call metaphysical wisdom. Truth, after all, is always multifaceted and multidimensional. Truth is always multifaceted and multidimensional. Now here, I literally break down light further. I literally break it down. The visible spectrum. I define nature again in its metaphysical context. I already did scientific, and I define light as metaphysical context. So I define nature and light in its scientific context and its metaphysical context, so you guys can understand that everything comes from the unseen to the seen, from the spiritual to the physical. So I simply just break it down why that is and how very empirically objective this is. I am not making things up. Now here I start synthesizing these thoughts. In the art of thought, we could define this relationship like this. Light is the divine idea, the scene of revelation. Nature is the divine idea made manifest. The tree, the purpose. Nature is light in slow motion, a dense reflection of the mental world, while the laws and rhythm and gender regulate the timing of your bloom. Your only task is to hold the high frequency vibration of your vision. Okay? Trust the law of perpetual transmutation to mold the clay of reality into form. And I also break down, what are these laws? Okay, give me some laws. Divine oneness, everything is connected. The law of vibration, the law of attraction, the law of correspondence, one of my favorite laws. The law of action, the law of compensation, the perpetual transmutation, the law of reality, polarity, rhythm, and gender. Why is these laws important? Because they are above the realm of opinion. They are something that man, woman, and child, they are just as concrete as math. We don't really argue about math that much. You either do math or you don't do math. Okay, now I give you all of the scripture now based on those ideating points. I've given you science and the nature of light in its scientific context and metaphysical context. So I'll walk you through how the scripture in the canon has been saying this the whole time. The purity of source, John 1:5. God is light, and in him there is no darkness at all. What is the metaphysical interpretation of that? Pure intelligence is a singular, consistent state of good. It contains no cross currents or contradictions. To align with source is to remove the eternal friction that causes failure and decay. I just do this again with the visible law. Then I take you here and I talk about mental fasting. What I'm talking about now is how to deconstruct from the way we used to look at things and head back to the nature of light. Furthermore, a farmer does not invite a crow to watch him plant. When they do, you invite the world's doubts to watch you think. Fast from the opinions of men, and you will feast on the results of spirit. It's going to take some work to get back to the divine diet, okay? Now here I bring the process of the beginning. All of these are states of beginnings, and I double down on why beginning is important, a proper beginning. Then I get into heaven on earth. I double down natural law and spiritual law, some beautiful art, nature, God's face and space and time. I get into masculinity and femininity. I give you some poetry to free your soul. And then we have our benediction. I'll also give you a glossary. And then I show you my prayer and karma bags. Man, check me out, 7hillsgrow.biz, the nature of light. Y'all gotta grab this ebook. Let's go.